Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another Sporting160EN Podcast. This is podcast number 69. Sorry, I'm going really slow because I'm just trying to confirm we're on. And we're on. We're live, baby. Anyways, let's get straight to the panel. Starting off with my good friend Steph. Steph, how you doing, bro?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. Show 69, that's a special number for all of us.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Just to clear it with Danny, his jersey is from Portugal. This is still a sporting podcast. So
I decided to go for a more colorful look today, a bit more neutral. No football's been around for a few months. It's supposed to be the Euros sooner or later, but unfortunately, obviously, it's not. So, thought I'd throw a Portugal jersey out there today, rep the motherland.
Why not? And I agree with you. So, but I'm doing well. I mean, the family's doing well with the COVID-19. So everyone is doing well in the house. So that's it. Chris, how you doing, Chris?
Good. In my improvised podcast studio right now. Doing all right, and excited to get on with you guys and talk about some actual sport that's about to happen, which is pretty wild.
Exactly. And let's just jump right into it. So starting June 3rd, a few days away, the Portuguese league will come back. Crazy how fast it's moved already. But hey, it's here. The first jornada, it's really jornada 25. We'll have on the third, on the Thursday, or on the Wednesday, I should say, we all have Portimonense Gil Vicente and Famalicão Porto. Then after that, we'll have on the Thursday, on the 4th, we'll have Marítimo Setúbal, Benfica Tondela, and then Guimarães Sporting, which we'll get right into after. Finishing off the jornada, we'd have Santa Clara Braga, Aves Belenenses, Aves who are fighting for survival. Boa Vista Moreirense on the Saturday, and on the Sunday, Rio Ave Passos Ferreira. I guess they're not doing the neutral stadiums in terms of having 3 or 4 stadiums around, correct? Or am I misinformed on that?
No, there's about, I think, 12 that are approved. So not all of them, but a lot of them are. Guimarães, for example, is one of them. So we're playing at Estádio Alfonso Henriques.
So
I think it's a total of 13. So I think
13, okay, yeah.
So they're waiting on.
A couple of teams got fucked, but.
So mainly the island clubs. I know those. I know the Santa Clara, the Marítimos. Really?
Yeah. They made a big fuss about it, so that's why. Yeah. So.
That one's the craziest, if you ask me. But yeah, Marítimos. I agree. Out.
It's crazy that they're, instead of bus rides within the club, within the own team, it's they're doing plane rides. Wow, that's crazy. But anyways, Steph. I'll start off with the same question as last podcast, but maybe some feelings have changed. Do you agree with the league coming back?
Do you think it's too soon? No, I don't agree with the league coming back. We should have done like the French, and also in Mexico. In Mexico, no one was champion, and whoever finished first, they qualified for the championship, for the Champions League of the CONCACAF. And we should have done the same way in Portugal. But it's about to. We're going to start on the 3rd, and let's stop with the negativity. It is what it is, and let's embrace it. So I'm embracing it, and I'm not gonna sound like an old guitar talking about the same shit, all the time. So now, since it's going to start, it's a reality. It's really going to be on the 3rd, the first games, just like you mentioned. I'm excited now. Now I'm excited. It shouldn't have started, but it will. So let's move on. Let's embrace it, and let's watch some Portuguese foodie, which I miss it tremendously. I ain't going to be an hypocrite, and I'm excited for the 3rd and the 4th and the 5th and the 6th. Apparently, it's going to be games every day, which is exciting for me, because I'll use my cell phone when I'm at work, and I'll watch the games on TV when I'm at home. So and that's all I got to say.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And going back, like I'm still on it as well. Like I don't think the league should come back, but I'm a full on hypocrite. I don't think any football should be back. And when German football came back, I was all over that. I was waking up early, making sure I had my eggs and bacon and a beer ready to watch. And it's gonna be the same with the Portuguese league. I don't agree it'll come back, but I'm definitely gonna be a hypocrite. And I mean, it's the reason why it's coming back. They know they can at least make some money off TV rights because us fanatics, us fans, will definitely tune in.
I mean, this is why we do the podcast anyway.
Fast, yeah.
you know what
exactly.
I mean. And today I was watching Dortmund against Bayern Munich. Awesome game. Because I missed it so much. I don't really follow the German league. I might follow, who's in first place and so on, but I don't really spend that much time watching games. But those games I usually do, like Dortmund, Bayern Munich, classics like that, of course. So I can wait for the Portuguese league to restart. Since it's going to restart, it's exciting now.
I'm with you. Chris, do you think we're rushing into it, though? Do you think maybe a few weeks of more pre-season training, if you will, is necessary for us to sort of get the blood rushing back to our veins, at least the players?
Yeah, it seems like someone's eventually going to get hurt, like at first. That's what happened in Germany. Gio Reyna got hurt in warm-ups and got scrapped from the lineup in Dortmund's first game. So, I mean, they had one training game this week. Maybe they'll have another one in the next couple days before the game on Thursday. But, yeah, I mean, they sat around for almost 3 months, and then they ramped it up for like 2 weeks. I don't think that's going to be conducive to the most positive results all around. So it's basically crazy soccer right now, because we have the element of you don't know if a player on your team tests positive. It's going to be like an injury. It's like, for like Sporar, I mean, he tested positive. He's going to be out for at least 2 weeks, until he's good. So we got to adjust. We got to find someone to fill the spot. We got to have a deeper bench. We have 5 subs now. You have to navigate the injuries as well, because it's inevitable. Like, someone's going to get hurt. Who's got the most fragile muscles? I mean, Jovan, Verstovsky, both always seem to somehow have like hamstring injuries. So hope that they don't go down like immediately, because we don't have the deepest team, obviously. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see like just the crazy dynamics, and the benefits of home and away games isn't as important, I guess, with no fans to give you like that extra boost what playing at home provides you. So it's just like, and also like a little bit of randomness. Like Schalke wasn't that bad prior to this break. I mean, they were just like average. They came back and they lost 4 and 5 nothing, and they're just horrible, both horrible, both their games. So it's just like, if you come back and you're not hot, you can just tank real quick. But if you come back and you're hot, I mean, pretty much anything could change. You can move from 8th to up to 4th or 5th, We're only 6 points ahead, or 4 points, right, ahead of Guimarães.
Yeah. Let me double check that, but I believe it's 4.
Yeah, it's 4. It's like they beat us. Like, they're right there on us immediately. And it's like, if we go into a slump, like, I think
we got 42, they got 38. Yeah. No,
sorry. 5, yeah, 5 on ahead of Guimarães, 4 on Rio Ave.
Yeah,
and then we're 4 behind Braga.
So I mean that the race between 3rd and 7th can finish in any order. It's currently Braga, Sporting, Rio Ave, Guimarães, Famalicão, but any of those 6 teams or 5 teams can finish in any order, and 3 of them are going to be out of Europe, and 2 of them are going to be in. So you want to be, or half of them are going to be in and half of them aren't. 3, 4, 5, because the cup winner is going to be a team that's already qualified. So it'll be 3, 4, 5. So 2 of those teams are going to be unlucky. I hope it's not us.
Yeah, exactly. And also, so let me. I was planning on doing the recent form of Guimarães. Of course, I mean, games we haven't had a game in 2 months. by the time they play, it'll almost hit the 3-month mark. But Guimarães was hitting their stride. They had just beat their last 3 games. They beat Aves 2-0. They beat Tondela 2-0. They beat Paços Ferreira 2-1. So clearly a team that has a goal in them, or has at least 2 goals in them. The game just before that, they lost 2-1 to Porto. Still had to put up a good fight. But again, we're talking February. Steph, how much do you think those games come into mind? And more importantly, how tough of a battle do you see Guimarães being? Again, Ruben Amorim coming from Braga. There's obviously that rivalry there. Braga, I do believe, beat Guimarães every time Ruben at least faced them. So maybe they're trying to get a one-up on Ruben again. So yeah, what are your thoughts and what are your main thoughts on Guimarães?
I think one of the main factors that benefits Guimarães is their fans, because the stadium itself, the fans are really close to the pitch. The way it was built, you can feel the fans supporting the team, and without that, I think we will benefit from it. Actually, Sporting, I think, was one of the first teams to initiate the so-called preseason, besides Nacional. I think Nacional was actually the first one. So we should, in theory, have a little bit more rhythm, but they all professional players. So also having a new coach like Ruben Amorim, I really think that the Sporting players, they want to show what they're worth to the new coach, so they can be part of it for the next season, being 2020, 2021. From the feedback I'm getting from Record a Bola and O Jogo and Sporting newspaper, I mean, and the news, and that's all we got really to go by. Even if we don't like those newspapers, we're very limited. How can we know what's going on at Sporting if we don't read those websites, those newspapers online? There's nothing else to measure how everything is going at Sporting. Of course, you can watch Sporting TV, but they only talk about that for a little bit. But from what I understand, Ruben Amorim is very liked among the players, and he created some great methods of working methods at practice. So it looks like everything is going well. And of course, now let's put it to practice. Let's see how it goes when we play against Guimarães on the 4th of June. It should be an exciting game. But let's not forget, it's going to be played on an empty stadium, which I think will benefit Sporting in a way, because we're playing away in Guimarães, no Minho, without their fans. So it's just like playing out at Alcochete, because there's no fans. So we're not going to feel that pressure from the fans, which sometimes, we do feel it. So we should be able to go to Guimarães, and I think we've done well at Guimarães. I think we've won the last couple of games at Guimarães, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I could pull it up really fast when Chris goes online and he speaks, and I'll pull it up. But I have a good feeling about this game. I think we will win.
I got you here. We beat them at home 3-1 for the league, at least the last time we faced them. But that was back in.
Okay, there it is.
That was back in September? What did it say here? October, mid-October. So unless
October
we played
19th.
them, unless we played them afterwards. Yeah, exactly. 2000. Yeah, but that I see we didn't play them afterwards for the toss or anything.
I think we lost. Yeah,
we might have lost.
We won the last 2 games, and we lost it 3. Yeah, we lost 3 years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
because I just saw it recently. So we should be able to go to Guimarães and pull off But the thing is, like Chris said, it depends a lot on the rhythm of the players and the chemistry of the team. You could be Paços Ferreira, you could be Santa Clara, and now this break benefits you, because now you have fresh legs, players that were hurt, they're good to go now. So Sporting looks great. The only injured players we have is o Filipe Luís and o René.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken, that's the only 2 injured players we have. Everyone else is good to go. We got rid of Gisé, o DJ, o Balazzi.
Yeah, I was I was gonna say is Bolasie. So I know that there was that report that Bolasie was as good as gone, but I mean the season isn't done yet. So I'm assuming, and Hesse as well. I'm assuming
I'm pretty sure
we still
they're
hold
home.
on to him.
They're
right?
not. They're not in Portugal.
I haven't at least seen any pictures of either of them at the training ground. To be fair,
No, Bolasie's
they've gone.
They've been home.
Hmm.
Bolasie's been like
with
live
the
streaming
salary.
from his yard with like little kids past couple
yeah.
weeks.
I it was his birthday recently. I sent him an Instagram message saying "Happy birthday, Leon." He liked it. So
that's chill. I mean, he's a good dude.
Now the problem I think was with the miscommunication between Sporting and Everton and the player, which was who's going to pay for the salary when the loan was until June.
Oh, okay.
That
makes sense.
Yeah, Everton was basically saying we're not going to pay for April, we're not going to pay for May. That's still on Sporting. So that's what the dilemma was.
Fair enough. Anyways, moving on. Chris, I was going to ask you what do you expect? It's tough because of course we only had one game under Ruben Amorim, and that game was it Avs? I believe they had 2 red cards in the first half. So
yeah,
it was tough for us to even get anything out of that game. They parked the bus for most of it, but we ended up winning it. What do you expect from? I mean, mainly going off of what he did at Braga, mainly going off of what you've been seeing on the news. Of course, all they pump is Ruben Amorim and him loving youngsters. What do you expect with this Guimarães lineup now? Do you expect him to play youngsters from the start? Do you expect him at least to maybe sub a few in here and then, like maybe like a Nuno Mendes, seeing as Varandas has been on him for a while? What are you expecting from this Guimarães game?
I personally think that the lineup is from the last game against Avs, and I have it here. I can read it out. I think it's going to be essentially unchanged. At least at first. I don't know how deep he's going to go with the 5 subs, but if he does, then I think that we'll have some where you want to consider it. So he had Ilori, Coates, and Matthew as a back 3. I think it's probably going to be Neto, Coates, and Matthew as the back 3. Whoever convinced him more, not sure who. Probably Battaglia. Doumbia. There's a report that he's
Steph, is that just my end? Okay.
No. He's breaking up.
Oh, I was breaking up.
Yeah. Okay, you're back now. Sorry. So
okay.
Last we heard was the amazing back 3 of Ilori, Coates, and Mathieu. So if you want to pick it up from there again.
He's frozen. Yeah, we're losing.
See, I can see myself like as a spinning wheel.
Okay.
I can.
You might be back.
What's your provider?
Ask for your money back for this month.
Cheap do caralho, meu.
Hey, Lavael. Anyway, Steph, I'll ask you the same question. What do you expect from Ruben Amorim, especially coming from his previous games, mainly at Braga, but from what you've been reading and all that, what do you expect from him?
I'm expecting a lot of good things from Ruben Amorim because from what I understand, and when he used to play at different clubs he played, and specifically the one he stood out the most, which was in Benfica. But as a coach so far at Oriental and Braga, he's been showing that he has a strong character, and whatever he says goes. And I like that about a coach. You need to have a pulse. So, and he's able to also motivate his players, which that's key for success. if you're able to conquer the team and the team is able to assimilate the way you want your tactics to be played, if they follow you, if you're a leader and they follow you, then we'll be successful. And that's what I think Sporting lacked of a coach that's a leader. And then when you lead by example, then the players will follow you. And I think Ruben Amorim, he's got that. I think he's got the charisma. And he said it well at his presentation there with Verandas that it don't matter about the past where I come from. I'm a professional. When I come to coach, I'm going to give my 100%. And I truly believe that's what he's all about. And he will prove it to us that he's all about. I don't care that if he likes Benfica. To me, that's not a concern. We had João Vieira Pinto in our Sporting. He wore the jersey, and he played well. He was a phenomenal player at Sporting. We had Carlos Manuel playing for Benfica, and he played all his career at Benfica, and he played well for Benfica, and Benfiquistas loved him. So, people have to put aside the clubismo, fanatismo, and we have to be we have to be basically accept that this guy is a professional, Ruben Amorim, and from what I've seen and from what his playbook, the way he broke it down, everything he wants to give Sporting, it looks good on paper. Now let's see, when we start playing, of course. But I'm foreseeing Ruben Amorim being on the bench and basically getting up. Well, he can't get up the bench because he lacks of the licenses that he needs
the license.
Yeah, I know.
Still Emmanuel Ferro. Not even so. That guy managed to stick around. So it's gonna be the same kind of for some reason he bothers me. I don't know what it is. But he just kind of annoys me. I don't know what it is. So honestly, I was kind of disappointed that he was sticking around because he's like the coach basically.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, in that to be a what is it, League One coach in Portugal, you need to have a certain amount of games before you can jump up to the next level. So it's kind of weird. But anyway, that's my take on it. I'm expecting a lot from Ruben Amorim, and we'll see.
Yeah, Chris, you
Somebody's
seem to be back.
got the YouTube one.
Sorry?
Do you have YouTube on? YouTube?
I think I thought I muted it. Let me just try that again.
Because
it might just be like okay. Well, anyways, we'll keep on track of that. Here, I exited the YouTube, so hopefully that's not me. Chris, I was gonna just pass on to you again if you wanted to just give Spark notes on what you were bound to say.
Yeah. So basically, I think that he likes to play the back three. It seems to be his preferred formation. So I think it's going to be Neto, Matthew, and Coates as the back three. Rostovsky and Acuna are probably going to be the wing backs, although Rozier seems like he is more in favor under Amorim than he was under Silas before, because he totally fell out of favor. And I don't know if he honestly played once during the entire Silas era, or maybe only a couple times. So I think that probably Rostovsky is going to get the edge, but Verzier may be in the picture again. I think that wingback role might suit him better, honestly, anyways. And then basically your choice of Battaglia or Doumbia, flip a coin with Wendell in the middle, and then Sporar up top, and either Plata or Cabral on one side, and then probably Vieto on the other side. If he's really feeling risque, he might go Cabral and Plata to get in our good graces, but I think it's probably going to be Vieto and one of those two on the other side.
Yeah, I'd agree. And we'll move on also to transfers since we're on the topic. A lot of transfer talk has been going on. Before we talk too much about departures, just so much of more of the youngsters. Chris, I'll keep this one still with you. We hear of rumors of Max also so far since this COVID thing has been going on. Max going to either Inter or AC. Again, the Milan clubs coming in for one of our talents, now being Eduardo Quaresma. We had Nuno Mendes recently come be under fire for Liverpool, or come under scouting for Liverpool. Rodrigo Fernandes as well. I forget the team that he was being looked at.
Undisclosed club in England.
10 million or something.
That
Crazy.
means Nottingham Forest, Wolves. Those would be my guesses.
Yeah, the Jorge Mendes controlled clubs. Basically, Chris, what do you think of all this? Is this maybe their agents trying to play onto new contracts, seeing as they're youngsters and they're wonder kids, and Varandas has only been talking about how our academy is top notch? Do you think there might be some truth behind it? What are your thoughts?
Basically, what has happened is I think that specifically Miguel Pinho, who is Bruno Fernandes' agent, and also clearly connected or friendly or bullied by Jorge Mendes. And I think that it's been clear that Varandas is willing to play ball with guys like this. I've watched other clubs joke about like the Jorge Mendes, the 15 special. I mean, it's like the 10+5 or whatever. He takes like a third of it. It says it gets reported as 15. You actually end up netting like 8 or 9. It's just like the classic thing. And Palhinha is going for the Jorge Mendes 15 special. Correa went for the Jorge Mendes 15 special. It's like they're all going for like the 10 to 15 Jorge Mendes special. Rodrigo Fernandes is a Miguel Pinho client, so they see opportunity to move him to England now. Palhinha is Jorge Mendes, so obviously there's connections there with Wolves. It's too easy, 15, done deal. And Nuno Mendes is a new one. I'm not sure where that one came from, but Man U and Liverpool in the last 2 days have reportedly been linked to him, calling him the best under-19 left back in Europe, one of the articles in England, which is crazy. I mean, I'm not going to say it's not true, but I am going to say it is out of nowhere. And the Max one of all of those, I think, is the least legitimate. I think it's Max's agent is just trying to get a new contract that he's been promised a renewal for months. Since like January, he's been promised a renewal. He's still making like the U23 wage he was on, like 120K a year. You know, he's making nothing for a pro athlete, and he's been the starting goalie for months. So obviously he expects a new deal. And I think that's just trying to turn the heat up. But yeah, I don't know, man. It is scary that it seems like a lot of the youth prospects could be taking a path more similar to Thiago Gelot, where we just kind of prematurely sell them to cash in, and they never really get that chance to play with the first team, develop, increase their value. We just kind of cash out at 10 to 12 or 10 to 12, 15 with Jorge Mendes connections, see 7, 8, and call it a day. But I mean, obviously, when you allow them to come into the first team and develop and play well and score goals or whatever, you know, they obviously increase. They could go for as high as, you know, like 60, 45, depending on the player. Sporting has been famous for doing that. So it's kind of like, it's ducking out of the situation early to just, I'll take 7 mil now rather than have the possibility of 25 later, you know? So it's short-sighted is what it is.
Super short-sighted. Steph, going on to you, more on the dismissals, and we'll stick more to the actual in-club. Show that fucking beautiful jersey off. That's it. Going more towards the players that are still at the club. A lot of noise around, one, Mathieu's retirement, two, and more importantly, the loss of two of our better players in the team. No matter how much shit we can talk about them, Coates and Acuna. And ever since the COVID situation has been going on, it's at an even lower price than ever before. What are your thoughts on that? Do you see any validity behind those rumors? Do you think we could possibly lose one of them, two of them? Mathieu retiring. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think Mathieu is waiting for the perfect time to announce it, if he will continue it or not. Me personally, I don't think he will, because when you take too long to decide, the tendency means that it's a no. Because if you wanted really to stay, you would have said yes by now. I hope I'm wrong, of course, because I would like to see him stay one more year. But if he doesn't stay, then we have a lot of potential. We have a lot of youth coming from the under 23. So I'm not really worried about the center backs. Well, if Kouach stays, of course, I'm assuming that Kouach will stay, and also Luis Net. I think Luis Net, which I think we have to renew with him before his contract expires. He's one of those in the bubble that we have to make a move. Him and our goalie Maxi. Um, so hopefully we're not going to lose Quats. We're not going to lose Maxi. We're not going to lose also Quaresma, up and coming center back. So I'm assuming we will lose Mathieu. Hopefully we won't. I wouldn't mind losing what's his name, Lodi. That I would give him away for free, actually, with a fruit basket. But Acuna, if we sell him for less than 20, it's a bad deal. We could have sold him to the Russians last year for 20 million, and now the news. I mean, I'm not saying I believe the news from Portugal, saying that Varane is willing to sell him for 15. But I wouldn't be surprised if Varanda would sell him for 15 because he's a very poor negotiator, and he believes too much in Mendes. He relies too much on Jorge Mendes. Jorge Mendes is running Sporting basically as far as selling and buying players, and that's a dangerous game because there's his nickname is Super Agent, and there's a reason for that. He wants to make money. He's in that business to make money. And if he can screw Sporting in the middle of it, he will. So, and that's one of the things Bruno Carvalho did well was to expel this kind of greedy people, but they back in our Sporting because that's what happens when you have someone like Varandas and Uguiana, very limited, poor negotiators. They need a third party to do the job for them, and infelizmente, como a gente diz na gíria portuguesa, estão de volta. And when we have these people, these worms, these anacondas, these fucking vampires sucking our blood, we're in bad shape. It's not acceptable that we made a deal with Bruno Fernandes. How much was it? 55 million, I think. We sold them
55.
50,
yeah,
55 and Sporting
55 with bonuses. We can get 80. But
got it. Which one of the bonuses is impossible, and then two of them it's maybe possible. But with that said, to wrap it up, how much money did we see? I think 30 million out of the 55.
Probably, yeah. I think something around those lines.
Maybe I'm off a little bit, but so it's a different.
You're near.
It's a difference of 25 million. What the fuck is the 25 million going to? Commissions and all that stuff. So I'm not saying they shouldn't be paid for it. Of course they should be paid for it, but they take an advantage of how Sporting sucks. Oh, this administration sucks negotiating. And Mendes is loving it because he's banking millions a custa de Sporting because Varandas and Uguiana, they just suck. They suck. They say yes to everything. And they think they're doing a great job. In their little world, they really think they're doing a phenomenal job with Sporting. Varandas, I saw the interviews and I read the interviews, and in his mind, he thinks he saved Sporting. I mean, I could have saved Sporting the way he did it. He made so many bad deals, and he thinks he really saved Sporting. He had to sell 25 players that gave him X amount of money, but could have given him a lot more money. And in his mind, he thinks he made a good, good deals. Anyway,
the only thing he's done is just scrap down the assets that were available to him. That's all he did. He didn't replace any of the assets he scrapped down. Anyone could have
Yeah,
done that.
most of the assets that he bought us are being rumored out. Doumbia has been rumored out. We bought him.
Those are all his guys. Those aren't even like
Yeah.
carryover guys because it's like Rostovsky and Bruno Gaspar, and there are some players that are still in the mix that are not his guys.
Yeah,
but he's now at the point where he's turning over his own guys. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He made a lot of bad deals, and what he did reduziu a folha salarial. So then he minimized
he just scrapped it down.
Yeah,
he sold. He just had a fire sale basically, and made everything cost less, but didn't replace it with anything.
No, he should have sold fucking the players he sold, like Bruno Fernandes. He should have been for a lot more money. That was a bargain for Manchester United, and he thinks he fooled Manchester United.
No, on Ollie's first press conference, they were asking if Bruno Fernandes was a bargain already on his first game. I should say, sorry, on Bruno's first game, they were asking Ollie if it was a steal, and he was like, "Yeah, it was." Like, it's ridiculous that deal. But going on to another ridiculous deal, and I think the big one, and one that we'll have to deal with all summer, really, and I'll ask the both of you these. João Palhinha, a lot of complications behind that, especially seeing as Sousa Sintra really fucked us over in terms of a deal with Braga, a 2-year loan, with other stipulations behind it, now being mentioned at 15 million, and he's off to Wolves. So, you know, as much as he's progressed in Braga, and I do remember those João Palhinha who played under Jorge Jesus, a completely different player than he is today. Braga might have helped his development up. Not might. It definitely helped his development a ton. But we won't be able to reap any benefits from that. And I mean, 15 million, maybe it's a lot. What do you guys think? Steph, I'll start with you off.
Okay, so I think Palhinha is better with Sporting. Of course, he will never admit it, but I don't think he wanted to be loaned out to Sporting Braga, and he was kind of forced to do it. It was not a bad deal for him because, you know, he still stayed in Portugal, in a beautiful, region of Portugal. Me and you, Braga, it's beautiful to live in. But deep inside, I don't think he wanted to. I think now, after 2 years of being in Braga, him personally, I don't know anything. I'm just assuming, this is just my humble opinion. I think he's just doesn't want to come back because he's pissed. And he had a lot of players with similar situations, such as Isgaio, that we shipped him away to Braga when he had more than enough quality to be at Sporting. And this is again my opinion. Isgaio should have never left Sporting, including Palhinha, and now he's forcing his way out to actually go and play in another league than playing at Sporting. And it's upsetting because we can see that Palhinha is a great player. He has developed a whole lot at Braga. He's a great number 6. He's scoring goals. He knows how to play with the ball on his feet. And we're never going to see that at our Sporting, just because we as Sporting Club Portugal, and this has nothing to do with Varandas. I mean, let's be fair about that. We mistreated him, and it was a bad deal. It was to pay bills, whatever money we owed Braga, and Antonio Salvador, being the Raposa that he is, has been in our league playing for a long time. He accepted the deal, and he did. If I was Antonio Salvador, President of Braga, I would have accepted the deal as well. But Palhinha is not going to play at Sporting. His agent's going to find him another club in the English league. Looks like it, and I don't blame him, to tell the truth. This is what happens when you mistreat players with great potential. And é dia triste para o Sporting Club Portugal, but I don't think we should treat him like we treat Podense, because Podense is a piece of shit, for example, or William Carvalho, another piece of shit. Palhinha is totally different. We, as Sporting Club Portugal, mistreated him. We treated him like shit. So I love the guy. I wish him well. And I'm said he's not going to come back and play with us. Hopefully I'm wrong and he will play 2020, 2021, but it sure doesn't look like it.
And by we, of course, you mean the administration, and
Yes.
it's quite a few. It was
But
not only letting it. Sorry, go ahead.
But this was not on verandas. This deal was made on
Sousa Sintra.
Yeah.
Sousa Sintra,
So
agreed. I was saying, though, in terms of our administration, we'll go in from disrespecting the likes of Pelinha, who we obviously seen the emotion that was on his face on the Taça Portugal when we lost to Aves after the Alcochete accident. But then, again, maybe a different administration, but still our administration as the club. Then disrespecting a club legend a few months later, and Nani and Freddie Montero, for example, not letting them finish the season, selling them off in February. A lot of mismanagement going on. And Christian, what are your thoughts on the Pelinha situation?
Unfortunately, I think that the reason is because Braga has 15% of the sale until September 1st. So you would think that at least keep him until January, right? So that Braga doesn't get the 15% and you get more of the 15 mil that you were gonna get prior to it. But I think, unfortunately, I saw yesterday, I know we talked about it before, but the 10 million for Ruben Amorim it's at 14 million right now if you include like the interest. Yeah. So I think that the 2.5 that Braga is supposed to get is sort of like a roundabout way of giving Braga money. And I think that it's sort of like being used as a way to like funnel Braga money. And Salvador's like, we have 15% until September 1st. You're gonna sell him before September 1st, right? And he's like, yeah, George, he's already arranged it to Wolves, 15 mil, like it's done, so we're good. And then Salvador's like, thank you, well done, boys. It's like, honestly, there's no way that's not at least part of it, because it doesn't make sense to sell him while they still have 15% when he isn't even their player. But whatever. I mean, it was a terrible loan deal, and Salvador is taking advantage of the situation that we've put ourselves in by directly bankrolling them as much as we have been.
Exactly. And the last transfer sort of business I'll talk about, and Steph, I'll pass this one off to you before we move on just for a bit. It's mainly the Slimani and Adrian rumors we were seeing lately. Not so much on them, because of course Adrian had come out saying how he would love to come back. There was some sort of quote, I don't know where, but apparently Slimani promised he would come back. Not so much on them individually, but what is it with us always being linked to former Sporting players who had good careers here? Is it just us, like, papers trying to circulate news? Do you think there's some belief behind it? Because we definitely do have a history of doing so. I mean, we sold, for example, Fabio Rochenbach, who I love, to Middlesbrough before bringing him back. We also did that with Nani a few times. So there definitely is a history there. Do you think there might be some truth behind it? Do you think players might be pushing their agents to do these sort of things because they see Sporting as like a safe gate, and maybe we can revamp their career again? What are your thoughts on that?
I think at this point in time, it's just because of the COVID-19 effect. They're filling in the blanks. They have nothing to run on TV, and they don't all the. If you notice, we've been seeing a lot more podcasts, a lot more interviews from different channels, from Sporting TV, from Sport TV, from CMTV, from Canal 11. They've been doing a lot of interviews to players because they're home. So this Zoom or this StreamYard or whatever they use, it's becoming a big thing lately. And then of course, any journalist that's asking Adrien a bunch of questions, they always going to ask the question of, are you willing to come back to Sporting? If you watch interviews with Benfica, Porto players, they ask a similar questions as well to ex-players they used to play for those clubs. One of them was David Luiz, and he said, "Yeah, the only club I would play for would be Benfica in Portugal." So it's not uncommon what's going on lately. record a bola, jogo. They have nothing much to put on, so they strive on these questions just to get all the fans riled up, like me, you, and Chris, and Nandinho, all the sporting fans in our case, and then some fans will believe in it. Hey, o Adriano vai voltar e o Slimani, but the most realistic fans, that the ones that pay attention, we know that's not a realistic thought because they just make too much money. I mean, how much does Endrian make per year? I think 4 million. Slimani is close to that too. So I think we're trying to stay at 1 million, 1.5 the max for players, for one player. So we're not going to see these players unless they're willing to come back just to make 1 million or 1.5, whatever it's our salary cap per player. So we ain't going to see them, and that's the reality of things. And I agree with that philosophy. If you can afford a player because they want to make X amount of money, hey, I love you, Andrian, I love you, Slimani, but unless you lower your salary, then I ain't going to see you at Sporting. There's no way we can pay four millions because we broke, bro. We are broke. I mean, you've noticed that handball players have left, futsal players have left.
Mhm.
There's a reason for that because the club is readjusting their finances. There's no income in cash, and this is not only Sporting; it's every club. But I think this administration, this aspect, they're being a little bit more realistic. Even though I don't like Udeo leaving from futsal, all the players that have left in handball, I don't like it. But I don't know how much money they were making, but apparently it looks like it was a lot of money, and it looks like that Sporting not only in football, soccer, but handball, basketball, and futsal, they're going to rely on the youth, formação, um, for the time being, and and that's what I would do as well if I know my finances. Now you have patrocinadores; they stop paying. You have Liga Nós will not re-sign the contract with the Portuguese league.
Starting
You
next
have
year, right?
yeah, they have one more year, 2020 21. So there won't be 2021 22.
22.
So the cash flow with the fans buy merchandise has gone down. With the socios has gone down. That we can blame Varandas, of course, because he
Mhm.
doesn't know how to unite Sportingistas. And also the ticket sales is none because there's no games. Even if we are about to restart the games, but we're not allowed. They're not allowed to go into the stadium. So all that money is gone, and we have to be realistic. A lot of Sportingistas, they were against the layoff of. We can say, "Epa, vamos manter toda a gente no trabalho," and the club has no money. So I understood the layoff. I think that was a realistic move from the club. If Porto and Benfica they're not doing it, that's on them. But I would
Right.
rather, me if I was a funcionário do Sporting Clube Portugal, I would rather be laid off than Sporting telling me I ain't got no money to pay you. Because if I'm laid off now, I apply for unemployment and I get money. You get money
Mhm.
that way. So what Varandas administration did with that, I think it was very responsible for the club being at the state we are financially, and for the survival of the club from now on and for the future. So I don't agree with Sportingistas that say, "Oh, you should have kept everyone employed." I don't, because we know we're struggling financially, and that's my take on it.
Agreed. And that's the perfect transition to go on to Frederic Varandas. Let me read off some quotes from his recent interview, saying até 2022 o objetivo é estar na Champions. So really, in 2 years, we'll be really pushed to be in the Champions League. Saying that Mateus Nunes, one of our youngsters, will pay for Ruben Amorim. Of course, projecting, but then being hypocritical, saying with COVID-19, Bruno Fernandes, who was lights out, was sold for 55, might not have been even sold for 20. So very hypocritical there, saying Gelson Martins, Rui Patrício e Prudence foram grandes negócios. The likes of Wang saying that he wasn't tricked, não fomos iludidos. Era o miúdo mais talentoso e promissor, meaning like he was very promising, but didn't even get a sniff on the under 23s. So how he wasn't tricked, beyond me. Christian, what are your thoughts on that whole interview? I know you probably have way more quotes to bang out. Does this guy just keep shoving his foot in his mouth, or what's up, man?
Yeah, I mean, watching the second one, at least the one that you just talked about, I tweeted out on the account, like, how does he see any benefit in coming out and continuing to do these interviews? Because I don't see how this is helping him, because he just says things that are so memeable, like they're so dumb and like out of touch with reality. Like the David Wang was the most talented Chinese prospect, is number one hilarious because it's obviously not true, and number two, David Wang is not like his parents are Chinese, but the kid was born in Spain, grew up in Spain his whole life. He wasn't like some Shanghai Shenhua Academy prospect that like came to Europe because he was good and he impressed in China. Like if that was the case, that would have been better, honestly. But he just like was stumbling through like the semi-pro leagues in Spain, coming through a team that's now literally doesn't exist anymore in the third or fourth division. I think it was the fourth division. So, I mean, just, dude, how are you defending that? It's indefensible. And they were kind of pressed him, I think, on like what exactly the 2 mil protocol was. Like what exactly because it was like access to the Asian markets and like what exactly that meant. And he just like obviously couldn't provide any specific details. The Nunu men's will pay for Ruben Amorim is probably the most troubling statement, though, because number one, puts so much pressure on the kid unnecessarily. He has been on the cover of the newspaper a couple times. Like Ruben Amorim likes him. He's been impressed him. He promised him some minutes, it would appear, with the first team. But it's like, how can you just say that he's going to be sold for 10 mil? One, because you're putting so much pressure on the kid. Sporting has like 60% of his pass for like 500K, I think. So number one, you're putting the pressure on him to reach the level where we're selling him for a lot of money. Number two, you're capping it. You're pushing it at 10 mil. Is like, if Matheus Nunes develops in what we want Matheus Nunes to develop into, in the best case scenario, I think he's worth a lot more than 10 mil. But at the same time, it's like no one knows anything. And that's just not a way to think about youth prospects, putting definitive number caps on them before they've even played once for the first team. It's just stupid. And I mean, if he says it's to pay for Ruben Amorim, which indirectly indicates that he doesn't have a way to pay for him right now. So it's interesting that he decided to do it knowing that he didn't have the capital, the liquid capital at the time to actually pay for him.
Yeah. It also just shows bad planning as well, in my mind, because the journalist in question was the one specifically asking about the Ruben Amorim's funds, and it's just hilarious how his go-to answer was of a hypothetical transfer in the future. It's really
20-year-old who's never once played for the first team.
Exactly. A good kid, but like you said, yeah, unnecessary pressure. Steph, I'll also pass it off to you as well. Same thing. What are your thoughts on the Varandas interview recently, but as well the recent news of certain dismissals coming out? We also had a candidate come out for the year 2022 for president already, and Nuno Souza, I believe that is his name. I believe he was just on Sporting160. So yeah, Steph, what are your thoughts in total as well about that?
It was a very poor interview. I mean, some of the things he said They needed to be said so we fully understand what was going on. But at this point in time, I just don't believe him. I think the COVID-19 saved his skin. I think he was doomed, and this kind of played out in his favor. Especially now, he can blame everything on the COVID-19 as far as the poor season. Even if we don't get the third place, he could blame it on that. The finances, he's going to blame it on that. Even though we knew before that it was on him. He did a really poor job managing, even though he tried to blame Bruno Carvalho. Of course, I do think that the academy played a big role in how much money we lost, and the brand name of Sporting was affected. I'm not a dummy either. I know that was one of the big causes, but he didn't convince me at all in this interview. I wanted him to touch more on the clocks to reunite the club as far as the fans, but I think it's too late for that. But you still have to attempt to find a way to reunite all the fans, and he hasn't done that yet. There's a lot of division among our club. We don't even need to be fighting with Benfiquistas and Portistas because we do a goddamn good job between us Sportingistas, and to me that's a shame. And I blame the administration in place now because they are the ones leading Sporting. They are the ones they should be finding a way to reunite the club, but so far they haven't found that. So the whole interview was a so-so interview from a scale of 1 to 10. I would rate it a 2 because he mumbles a lot, he eats a lot of words, he lacks of vocabulary, and don't forget Portuguese is his first language, but he struggles a lot. He's delivering speeches is very, very poor, and he doesn't know how to galvanize and get all of us together. It bothers me that we're so divided. And his speech, but like Chris said, Wang, he said he was a very promising player. Are you kidding me? What the fuck is he now? Is he in the 4th division in Spain or something? I don't even know where he is now. I have no idea. Anyway.
I have no. I don't even think Transfer Market knows where he's at. Last time I checked,
he's on loan in the 2nd division of China.
In the 2nd division in China.
China. Wow. A league I follow every day. I've never watched one game.
Especially the 2nd division for this.
It's not only that. I don't follow. I don't follow anything from China. I have no interest about anything from China. A country that's backwards. They eat dogs, cats, and bats. And what the fuck? I don't like China. I will never like China. I know this is a sports podcast, but fuck, I don't give a fuck about the Chinese. These people are nuts, man. I mean,
they pay well, man. They pay well.
Yeah.
I mean, sopa de morcego. Fuck this. I mean, these people are nuts, bro. How can you grow dogs and eat them? I mean, are you kidding me? Come by that Maluk meal. I mean, I have no interest in any Chinese league or China itself. I'll never go there, to tell the truth. I have no desire. But anyway,
10 million euros a year, I'll go there,
buddy.
No, maybe
there's very little I'll turn down for 10 million euros. Olha o focinho do Steph.
10 million. But no, I wouldn't go, to tell the truth. No.
Fair enough.
People, bro. Anyway,
yeah,
not to go into politics, but yeah, Berendes was a very, very poor speech, very poor explanations, and he didn't convince me at all. I read the whole thing, no record question and his answers, and I was not impressed whatsoever. Another poor performance, another poor delivery. He should be the one saying, "Hey, eu sou grande Sportingista, and I know I suck, so I'm going to quit." That's what he should do. But he's not going to do.
Takes a lot.
You know why he's not going to do it?
Takes a lot of balls and courage, and that's nothing he has.
It pays well. He's connected. He's connected with well-connected people now. So he thinks he's setting himself up for even after this gig.
Aquela merda dá dinheiro, meu, because I never seen o Porto, Benfica, or Sporting struggling for presidents. There's always someone that wants to run for president. And it's not because they're not going to make money. It's because they know they will make money. You know what I mean? They know they will make money. And that's the problem. The big clubs will always have president. And if they're lucky, they will have a Pinto Costa that won for Porto. It doesn't matter how, but he won for Porto many campeonatos. O Orelhas, o Felipe Vieira. He won for Benfica. And I know Sporting said, foi tudo corrupção, sem mais que. Mas ganhou. Mas ganhou. All we have is shitheads, and we never win anything. The closest we got was Bruno Carvalho, and we kicked him out. We kicked him out.
Yeah.
So, and agora temos com Varandas. He gives a million excuses, and you listen to Sportingistas from Portugal, and it's like they're in love with him. A good majority, not all of them. Of course, there's a lot that don't like him at all, like we don't like him. But there's a good majority that, for some reason, they have he's got a spell on them. He got these people hypnotized. We don't win shit with Varandas, and they still want him as a president. And all they say is, for you ataque, temos momento de reconstrução, and sei mais que. But people don't see that this guy is not a good president. The minute he opens his mouth and he can give a speech, you can't sell. You don't know how to negotiate. He's really bad, really bad. I mean, terrible.
Agreed. Steph, did you? I might have dismissed it because I stepped out for a second. You mentioned anything about the dismissals or anything like that, or even Nuno? Is it Nuno Santos?
Nuno
running for
Souza.
presidency? Sorry, what was that?
Nuno Souza.
Souza, sorry. Did you mention that by chance before I pass on to Christian?
Well, it's too soon to tell now because we're going to have a lot more candidates. So, I mean, he seems to be reasonable, but he's not one of the most likable candidates for Sporting. So I think if Bruno Carvalho is proven that he was innocent, Sporting vai ter que levar, esta administração do Sporting vai ter que levar no cu, and then we'll have to accept him back as sócio, and then he'll be able to run for president again.
Exactly.
So we'll see. But I'm not convinced with this. Another croquette. No, I'm not convinced with it.
Fair play. Fair enough. And Christian, I'll quickly pass that one off to you before we go on to a question here from David Pereira, who, if I'm not mistaken, is David Streif or David Streif over on Twitter. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But anyways, Christian, what are your thoughts? I know you have some thoughts leading on to the latest dismissals.
Oh, I mean, it's just, to me, I think that I was hoping at least that it was kind of showing some breaking points, some actual conflict and disagreement within the front office, you could say. Three resignations in 2 days is pretty brutal. And some of the explanations that were given, like, they're related to COVID. These are already planned, and they just happen to execute them now. It's bullshit. No one in an economic crisis quits their job voluntarily unless they are, very dissatisfied with the direction of whatever their work is doing. So, yeah, I mean, I just think that they didn't quit because of COVID. They quit because they disagree with the direction that things are going and what Varandas was telling them to do. One of them was the academy director. One of them, forget what it was, one of his roles. I think he was a vice president, one of the vice presidents. So, I mean, it's just like, we've heard some of the rumors about, we just talked about it. I mean, selling the youth players too early to just play it safe and just cash in on anything while you can. Maybe he disagrees with that, and he's not happy that these negotiations are prematurely happening just to flip them with super agents. So I don't know. I'm just reading into the situation, and I have no idea. But no matter what way you look at it, it doesn't seem good for him.
Facts. And just to quickly add it, this was right towards the beginning of the end for Bruno de Carvalho, was the quick dismissals from his fellow peers. So, I mean, obviously it's not that dramatic, but definitely something to mention. Let's just quickly go to some questions here in the comments. First one coming from David Pereira. Let me just put that up there. Steph, I think you're actually right. I think this is the Braga fan. I might be confusing the two Davids. But anyways, he asks, if Sporting doesn't hold on to Palhinha, does Battaglia stay based on necessity? Steph, what do you think, dude?
I mean, it's not based on necessity. I don't think we have any better. Battaglia now had time to recoup from his injury, major injury. Now with these 2 months, it played out okay for him. He was able to actually focus on his knee. It's between him and Doumbia. Doumbia gives us no guarantees. I don't know after 2 months if he's gotten any better, but certain players, for some reason, they take a while to evolve, and Doumbia is one of those cases. So he's our player, Battaglia. So I don't think he'll stay because of necessity. He'll stay because he's our player. That's the bottom line. Sporting's not going to sell the whole team. We just can't. If we sell one or two players because we need money, and let's not be fools, that's the main reason why, because we have to pay the bank or the loan we asked the American for. What's the company, Chris?
Apollo.
Yeah.
Apollo, exactly. I know you would remember. So there's obligations we need to meet. So when Sporting makes a deal, and it's like, why did we sell this player? Like Nani and Montero, they were making too much money. So Sporting had to respect certain obligations, and then they had to pay off certain bills that if we didn't, then fair play financeiro would be into play. So they try to avoid that. So I think Battaglia will be actually a player I'm looking forward to come back to form at 100%, and he'll be key to our success. Just because I don't really trust Doumbia that much. I think Doumbia will be good for Liga games as a backup for the last 15, 20 minutes when the other team is tired as well. He'll be good for Taça de Portugal games, but not as a starter. My confidence, if we don't convince Palhinha to stay, because Palhinha, we have to send our best bullshitter to convince him to stay. And then if he stays, then we can get rid of Doumbia. And now we keep Battaglia because he's got more experience. If Palhinha goes, then we're going to have to keep Doumbia and Battaglia because I don't know what's available in the market. And to tell the truth, we broke.
Yeah,
we don't have a lot of money to play with, and the positions we need, it's most likely a center back if Matheus doesn't stay, and another Punta de Lança striker. So, do we have anyone up and coming as this number 6? Matheus Nunes, perhaps.
Yeah.
Bragança, maybe.
Bragança. That's what I was about to.
Not a number 6. He's more of a number 8.
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't have that. Like, he's not really a destroyer.
Yeah, he is pretty small for a 6 too. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a finesse player. He's one of those players that plays volant. So that's I think Matheus Nunes would be the best player for that position. So I mean, we shall see. And yeah, that's all I got for you.
Fair enough. Next question. I'll pass this one off to you, Chris. I think it'll show up now. Yeah, Pedro Mendes or Tiago Tomás? Who do you guys think Ruben Amorim will look to for options as striker after Sporar? Seems like Ruben Amorim fancies Tomás' ability over Pedro Mendes in recent reports. That comes from Casa de Paiva. Shout out to Casa de Paiva. What do you think, Chris? I was actually trying to pull up the numbers real quick, but give me a bit and I'll do that.
It does seem like he likes or has liked Tiago Tomás so far in training based on reports. And to be honestly, I never really have rated Pedro Mendes that much. I've wanted him to be good, and I've tried to project onto him the player that I want him to be. But I mean, he never really gets more than 15 minutes. But honestly, like so many of his cameos, like he literally doesn't even touch the ball. You know, when he comes on, it's kind of frustrating. He's had a couple flashes every now and again, but I mean, I haven't seen that much. I don't think he is by any means any sort of lock to even be on the roster next season. He has to play his way onto the team, and there's almost no depth at striker. That's why I think that Thiago Tomas is being given an opportunity, but I don't think he's registered in the league. Is he? Or is he? Because
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's just the U23. I mean, in the start of the season, he was still at the U17s, so I'd be very surprised.
So I think that he can only play towards like a certain point, like the last month or something. It's kind of like in baseball; they like expand their rosters at the end, type of deal. So I don't think that he's gonna play unless something crazy happens. But there really is no strikers other than Pedro Mendes. But it seems like Amorim wants to play with two strikers. So
yeah,
I don't know. Vietas has flashes playing underneath a striker, but not consistent enough.
It'd also be interesting enough to see what happens with Pedro Marques when he comes back. I know he had a decent stint in Holland, but it's tough to judge when you're playing second division. Exactly.
Well, he got promoted. He moved to a first division team. So he started out with that second division team, and then he moved.
I thought he moved to another second division team. They were closer to promotion.
Oh, is that what it was? I thought he moved to like a lower first division team.
I'll double check, but here I'll read off the numbers real quick of the two strikers in question. Thiago Tomas, again, a small sample size, but 6 games, 313 minutes. I don't know exactly what that is in terms of how many like total game time, but 6 games played, 3 goals in the Liga Revelação. And in terms of Pedro Mendes, his Liga Revelação games, 21 games, 15 goals, 2 assists. And then in terms of first team football, he has 6 Europa League games, 1 goal, of course, and then 4 Liga NOS games, has yet to score. Pedro Marques popped up some politician in Europe. Let's see here. Yeah, he plays for Den Bosch, which is also second tier. Yeah, Dutch team. Yeah.
So let me ask you something.
Go for it.
What's the age of Tomas? He's 17?
17. And Pedro Mendes is, I believe, 20?
Yeah.
20.
Pedro Marques?
Pedro Marques is 22.
22, okay.
22. He looks like a fucking little poot, but he's been around our academy for quite some time now. So, yeah. 22 is not old, but
a lot of room for progression for those guys.
100%.
But so it's up to Ruben Amorim. Let's see what he does with these players. Don't forget we have Dollar.
Yeah, from Rio Ave.
He's gone, I think.
I was just about to say, seeing the way we're selling people, yeah, I think he's gone too.
You think so?
We'll see, though. We'll see. I hope not. I think he's a great player, but I thought if any opportunity was good for him to come back to Sporting, was in January when he was coming back from his loan deal from Turkey. And seeing how we just loaned him off to Rio Ave, and I believe he had 3 goals.
Yeah.
3 goals and an assist or 2 in that time. So we'll see.
But I'm talking about season 2020-21.
Of course.
You think he'll be given
I don't think so.
No.
I personally don't think so. I think he would have been given a chance. Especially seeing as we sold Bas Dost, of course, right? Just bought Sporar, fair enough. But Luis Felipe had just gotten injured. I thought we would at least, not only call up Pedro Mendes, but also give him added competition by bringing back Dalla. We didn't. Maybe that's a decision we'll hopefully regret and bring him back the same way. But I thought the same thing about Pelinha, and it looks like he's as good as gone. So I'm not holding my breath for that, at least. That's me personally.
Have you seen the comment from Lauren Jenkins? She said, I'm so worried about the teams below us. Still think we'll finish seventh.
Do you guys think we'll finish 7th? It's a possibility. We're within 5 points of 7th.
Yeah.
Like we said.
3 through 7 is could finish in any order.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the worst position we ever finished? 7th?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was back in Gooding Lopes. And
do you know which one it is for Benfica?
which one? I don't know.
6th.
Really? Do you know
And
for Porto?
do you know?
No.
9th.
Yeah.
9th.
Que o Porto vai para o caralho, filhas da
Sorry, no.
puta.
I think that we had 42 points or 44 points when we finished 7th.
7? Yeah.
So there's no way we're not gonna pick up like 6 more points, like you would think. But if they don't, they're legends.
I sincerely think the worst will finish is 4th, and we have a shot at 3rd.
I don't think that's necessarily true. I think
I don't know.
We're 4th right now. I mean, that would assume that no one passes us. I don't know.
Well,
like if we lose to Guimarães the first game, they're already like breathing down our necks immediately.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think this first game is huge for us. We're the type, especially our players. We're the type of players that are weak mentality. If we come out and lose against Guimarães, I see us losing a lot of games. These next, how many games are left? 10.
And what? They're Porto and Benfica and
Porto
Braga,
and
right?
Benfica. No, I think Braga
Not
we played.
Braga.
Braga
Yeah,
we played.
Braga, and we
Porto
lost.
and Benfica within the last 3 games of the season.
So there's what 8 left, 9 left, and it's a third of them are those games, and
Yeah, and then those 2 are going to be fighting it off for the title. So yeah, it's going to be really tough. My last question, really, before we ship this off, league winners. It doesn't matter to me. I know it doesn't. You guys can care less. It would be better if none of them won. I'm with you guys. But who do you think would win between Porto and Benfica? Christian, I'll start it off with you, dude.
Who do I think is going to win
Between the two? Yeah.
I think Porto. I think Benfica is going to win.
How about you, Steph?
I don't give a shit.
Exactly.
I can care less about who wins if it's Benfica or Porto. And I sincerely don't know because Benfica and Porto have been off for too much, just like Sporting, and I don't know who's going to benefit the most because everyone's going to be out of rhythm, every single team.
Yeah.
So it's tough to say. I have no clue. Don't know. I think
who has more depth?
I think Sporting will play a big role in the championship because we still play, I believe, Benfica, and
we play both.
And Porto.
We play both.
Yeah, we'll play both. So
the last game is Benfica, I believe. I think.
I'll tell you.
It is. It's at the
Yeah. The 26th of July. It'll be at Deluge. So I think we'll play the spoiler.
I think
that'd be great. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be great.
Rob it from
I would love
the
that.
final day.
And I like that. I don't give a shit who wins the championship, but I don't want to favor Porto or Benfica. I'm not the kind of person that I quer que o Porto ganhe.
But getting swept aside on the final day while they celebrate is also something I don't want to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it. I see what you mean. But I don't want Sporting to facilitate the game against Porto and to facilitate the game against Benfica just because one or the other is about to be champion. That I don't want. I want to win against Porto. I want to win against Benfica. Every game, actually. But I don't give a shit who wins. One quick note. One of our players, Mauricio Anush, he passed away with
I saw that.
cancer.
I'm not too familiar with him, honestly.
Yeah.
Me neither.
He was champion for Sporting in 1999-2000.
Okay.
He's a player from Argentina. So the coach at the time was Ignacio. He died with that age of 43. He died really skinny.
Due to cancer. I was just reading not too long ago.
Yeah, stomach cancer. So he put up a good fight, but cancer got him. So, my condolences to him and his family.
Yeah, agreed. Rest in peace, Leon. Just wanted to do a quick note that our boy all the way in Australia believes Sporting will still be champions. I don't know if that's mathematically possible, but força caralho. But I'm also with you, Jose. I also want us to beat both of them. I personally think Benfica is going to steal the show, but hey, man, I don't care. I'm with you, Steph. Can give two shits. Anyways,
I don't care.
Anyways, a quick shout out to everybody in the comments. Shout out to Jose Jorge, our Australian friend. Shout out to Lauren Jenks, to David Pereira, who supports Braga, but a good friend of the show nonetheless. We also have, I forgot to mention in the beginning of the podcast. I'll mention it now, and I'll mention it for sure first thing next podcast. Our boy Steph started off a new project, Football with No Filter. Highly recommended. Great first podcast. It's between him, a Sportingista, of course, between Bruno, a Portista, and between his boy Jorge, a Benfiquista, I believe. Right, Jorge, right? Yeah, great show.
Yep.
Ferengo, two, like, all three very fiery fans of their clubs, of their respective clubs. And I think it's going to be a great show, Steph. You want any words on that real quick?
Real quick, the show is all about, like we said, no filter, and we'll talk about everything possible, controversy items. We are planning on talking about Pitorado in detail, Cas Cardinal, Cas Ball in detail. Also, of course, voucher, emails, Rui Pinto, que porta 18 cocaína. It's stuff that me and my friend Portista and my friend Benfiquista, we all agreed upon. It's controversy stuff that we're not going to run away from those subjects. We'll go to the nitty gritty. We'll go into details. We'll talk about the dates of fundações dos clubes, stuff that fans sometimes talk about, but they don't really want to go into depth because it hurts their feelings. We don't care about that. We'll go into the nitty gritty. We'll push each other buttons. That's what our podcast is all about. Once in a while, you'll hear a lot of Portuguese, a lot of curses. That's the way we
exatamente.
That's our podcast. It's going to be a completely different, environment and the context of it. We want it to be as controversial as possible because we've had a lot of Benfiquista guests, a few Portista guests. And every time we touch a little bit of a sensitive issue, people don't tend to run away from it, don't want to talk about it. But I spoke to George, he's a great Benfiquista, and to Bruno, un gran Portista, and they said they agree. We should going into depth and really talk about it. And, hey, just wait and see and tune in. And we'll put it out on Twitter and Facebook. That's the two social medias we'll use the most. And I'm pretty sure you guys are going to love it. Just don't take it personal. Because it's all about having fun. That's all it is. It's not. I respect Benfica and Porto a lot and all other clubs. I have nothing against them, but sometimes it's good to talk about all the shit that goes on and how certain clubs win the championships, not being on the pitch but outside the pitch. So that's it.
Exactly. São os corruptos do caralho, esses filhas da puta. Anyways, guys. Number 69 is in the books. Another legendary podcast. Guys, thank you all for joining us. Again, shout out to everybody in the comments today. Really enjoyed that. I speak for all of us. We're really enjoying this app that we're doing, so we're going to definitely be doing these live again. I genuinely miss doing this live. I did like the Skype for a little bit, but doing this live is another thing. Always interacting with you guys is always better. And yeah, with this app makes it 10 times better. Last thing from Jose, he says, Safoda, important is Sporting. Abraço, Jose. All the best, bro. Anyways, boys, thank you all for joining us.
Un abraço, Jose.
Follow us over on Twitter, Sporting160_EN. Follow us on Instagram. One day we'll touch it again, Sporting160EN. Of course, follow us on YouTube here, Sporting160EN. And yeah, Viva Sporting. Maybe next time I'll be in a Sporting jersey. Who knows? We'll see. Ciao, boys. Viva Sporting.
And maybe next time Jose will come on the podcast.